So if you guys recall the last assignment, what we did is we had these motion detectors here in Vernier, and we were looking at any set of motion that you guys had chosen. So you had said, for example, start, 1 meter away from the motion detector, walk away at a constant speed, stay there for a couple seconds, and walk back towards the motion detector. Or you looked at the motion of a ball, a cart, anything that you guys were looking at. We were doing this motion, looking at position time and velocity time on the motion detectors. Well, we're going to be looking at motion, or actually rather making more motion graphs, except we're going to be doing it this time using a spreadsheet. So we're going to be using Google Sheets for that. So what you guys can do is go to your drive, just open a new Google Sheets, and give it a title, Motion Graphs. And the first thing you're going to do is go ahead and label your two columns. So it doesn't really matter where you click, but just label two columns. And you always have your first column as time. So we'll label our first column, give it some units, and label our second column. And recall position is in meters. Well, I already had the positions pre-filled in there for us, so I just copy and pasted them in there. But we got to give a time here, so we'll go 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 0 through 16 seconds. And again, it's really important that time is your first column there, and the position is your second column there. Because if you have them flipped, your graphs will not come out the way you would intend them to. So now you got to highlight your data. Two ways to do this. You can click and drag all the way to the bottom, or you can click on your first cell up here, hold down on the shift key, click on your last cell, and it performs the same function. It just highlights all of your data there. Next thing, go insert. And Google Sheets doesn't call it a graph, they call it a chart. So if you go down here and you click on chart, and we're going to want to go to chart types. So what we do in this class is we always input a scatter chart, with the idea that being that there could be some randomized relationship going on here, like this scattered plot is showing us, or there could be distinct relationship between all these points that we're plotting, and as you see, there is here. So that's in short, how you set up a graph. But it is important that we do have a few things done here. Make sure the x-axis down here is labeled time. Make sure the y-axis over here labeled position. It is. Another thing, our time goes from 0 to 16 seconds, and it looks like it labeled it correctly for us. Yeah, our last data point is at 16 seconds, which means our position is correct as well. A few things you can do now, change the title of your graph. I just, so motion graph. And another thing that makes it a little bit easier to look at, if you go to Advanced Edit, so click on this top right here, Advanced Edit, scroll down to your axis. So we see we're on the horizontal axis here, and for grid lines, well, since we had 16 seconds, you put in one extra there, and there we go. We put, it gives a data point, or it gives a grid line for each time interval we have there. You can go and change the vertical as well, and we'll change the vertical to, well, we went from 0 to up to 10 meters, so we'll just change these grid lines to 11. So now each point has a specific grid line, makes the graph a little bit easier to read. So again, what this graph is saying, we start out at a position 2 meters away from the origin, walk away at a constant velocity for 4 seconds, stay motionless for 3 seconds, walk away at a faster velocity for 2 seconds, stay at 10 meters for 2 seconds here, and then speed up, right? So that's what the curving, we said the acceleration, there's always a curve of position in the position graph. You're going to accelerate back towards the origin. So that's about it. Thanks a lot, and bye.